Everybody loves the modern quarters. Since 1999, the Mint has issued state quarters, DC and territorial quarters, and America the Beautiful quarters. We're going to talk about modern quarters, how much they're worth, and why. Let's get right into it so it all makes sense. Our first coin is this 1999 Connecticut quarter. This quarter is broad struck and it graded Mint State 67. The grade is a scale of the coin from 1 to 70. This is an odd one. This quarter was somehow struck with no collar or obverse die. You can see where the collar was missing by looking at the rim of the quarter, and here's what the back looks like if you strike a coin without a die. This quarter sold for $20. Here's a 1999 Georgia quarter. This quarter was graded Mint State 67, and it has an interesting error called a capped die. Sometimes a coin gets stuck on a die like a bottle cap. The attached coin continues to strike other coins while it's stuck to the die. This Georgia quarter got stuck on the reverse die, so the obverse or head side of the quarter continued to be struck against planchets until the coin was released. Here's what the head side of the quarter looks like. This error quarter sold at Heritage Auctions for over $1,600. This is a 1999 Georgia quarter graded AU 58. The AU stands for About Uncirculated. This definitely made it into circulation and was found in a bankroll or in pocket change somewhere. The reverse of this quarter is rotated about 135 degrees. These are very rare, but easy to find if you're taking the time to flip every coin over. I've tried and it is really time consuming to do. This one right here sold at auction for $201. Here's a 1999 Philadelphia minted quarter that graded Mint State 67. You can tell by the edges of the quarter there's definitely something wrong with this coin. The slab prevents you from seeing just how bad this quarter looks until you turn it over. This is actually two planchets that have been fused together when one of them was struck on top of the other planchet. These quarters have been significantly deformed, and it makes you wonder how it ever made it out of the mint. Either way, this quarter sold at auction for $1,800. Our next coin is this 2000 Philadelphia minted Virginia quarter. This coin was graded Mint State 64 and is the result of a partial collar strike. You can see the design is off-center by the uneven rim around the quarter. This one sold for $17. Take a look at this 2005 Philadelphia minted quarter. It was graded Mint State 66 on a scale from 1 to 70. This quarter is special because of the type of variety it is. This is what's called a double die. There are so many different double die varieties of this quarter involving extra trees and partial trees. You can check them out on doubledie.com. This one has been identified as DDR010. Here's what you need to look for on this quarter. Take a close look at the back of the quarter. If you don't have magnification, you're going to want to get something to zoom into this quarter. If you need to buy a magnifier, a loupe, or a coin microscope, you don't need anything fancy. Directly after the fourth large tree, you can see the doubling of rocks or a tree right here on this quarter. This other picture shows you what the area is supposed to look like. It's crazy how small this little error is. What's crazier though is how much it's worth. This 2005 Minnesota quarter sold at auction for $660. Here's a 2001 Philadelphia minted off-center strike. It was graded Mint State 65. Go back and compare this to the partial collar strike we looked at before. A partial collar strike may look like it's off-center, but the design is still centered. The collar strike is what gives it the appearance that it's off-center. This is what an off-center strike looks like. These can be commonly found in small degrees. Most of the off-center strikes I find are in coin rolls for older pennies and only off-center slightly. This off-center strike gave this quarter a little value boost and it sold for $34. Here's a 1999 Philadelphia minted Pennsylvania quarter. It graded almost perfectly at a Mint State 69. The highest the Sheldon grading scale goes is Mint State 70. There are many factors in determining the value of a coin. We talk a lot about error coins on this channel, but serious collectors are usually looking for the highest grade coins for their collections. There's no error on this quarter. No DDO or DDR, no incorrect planchet or off-center strike. This is just one of the best coins found in a very high grade, and that's what made this beautiful quarter sell for over $7,000 at auction. Here's another fairly common error. This is a 2001 Kentucky quarter. This is a strike-through error, which basically means that something foreign came in between the planchet and the die, affecting the strike of the coin. Most struck-through errors are caused by a buildup of grease from the presses. This can cause part of the detail of the coin to be missing. The strike-through on the quarter was big enough to affect a lot of the detail in the words "In God We Trust" and the A and the R in the word dollar. This coin sold at auction for $51. Our next coin is this 2000 Denver minted Maryland quarter. This quarter was struck on an improperly annealed planchet. Annealing is a process during planchet preparation. The planchet is heated and changes take place in the metal that affect strength and hardness. These changes make it easier to work with the planchet during the minting process. If the temperatures aren't maintained accurately and consistently, it can result in discoloration and brittle alloy. This quarter sold at auction for $16. That's not bad for something valued at 25 cents. This is a 2004 Denver minted quarter with the Wisconsin design. This quarter was graded Mint State 67. It's one of 2 die varieties you can find for this design, and this variety has been found in circulation. It's believed that someone intentionally gouged the quarter dies at the cornstalk and added an extra leaf. There's an extra high leaf variety and an extra low leaf variety. The low leaf varieties are a little more rare and worth a little more money as a result. You want to take a look at the left side of the stalk. This leaf is part of the original design and it's supposed to be there. This leaf is the result of the intentional die gouge and it's not supposed to be there. Without the extra leaf, this quarter is worth 25 cents. With the extra leaf, this quarter was sold at auction for $6,000. Take a look at this 2005 Philadelphia minted California quarter. This quarter is missing its clad layer and has a reddish tint from the exposed copper. It weighed in at 4.7 grams, a little less than the 5.67 grams it should weigh. That's not much of a difference, but it was enough of an error for this Golden State quarter to sell for $1,265. What's wrong with this 2008 Denver minted quarter? If I ever came across one of these before watching this video, I would think it was counterstamped. After all, if you know how modern coins are minted, what other explanations could there be for an incuse T? Here's what happened. This is actually a struck-through grease error. These are extremely rare. What happened here was that one of the T's was completely filled with grease. The quarter stamp before this should be missing one of the T's in trust because of the grease-filled die. After the previous coin was stamped, the grease that filled the T fell out, still a perfectly formed T, and landed on the next planchet to be minted. This is where it was actually struck into the coin. Because of the pressure, the grease didn't smooth out into a blob. There you have it. This quarter was graded Mint State 64 and was labeled drop letter T. It's probably not the most accurate name for the struck-through grease error, but that's what they're calling it, so that's what we're going to go with. This quarter sold at auction for $780. Here's a great double die to look for on the 2009 Denver minted District of Columbia quarter. I've been searching for one of these for many years and haven't come across one yet. This double die graded Mint State 66 on a scale from 1 to 70. Here's what you want to look for. Since this is a DDR, we know that the double die is on the reverse of the quarter. Let's zoom in and take a closer look. See this little diagonal line on the front of the piano right here? This was caused when the die was rotated in between strikes with the hub. You can also see the doubling at the same angle on the E, L, and L in Duke Ellington right here. This error quarter sold at auction for over $3,000.